I'm Chris Lawrence with your top stories in North Texas. Police are searching for the suspect who shot 4 people at a park in Fort Worth. As Kevin Reese reports, a child, a police officer, and 2 women were wounded, and one of them is pregnant.
The crowd from an event Saturday at Stop 6 Park gathered at a business next door to get out of the rain, and then this. Gunfire from the direction of an apartment complex. Police say someone fired indiscriminately into the crowd.
It sounded close. I don't know exactly how close. I just know I ducked and ran.
A child grazed by a bullet, a police officer hit by shrapnel from a bullet through his windshield, 2 women hit, one in critical condition from a bullet to the head. Friends identify her as Brianna Williams and that she is also pregnant.
It was a senseless act. It was a cowardly act. We want to bring this person to justice.
Older people are always saying that young people are the future. So if we are the future, you might as well start letting us lead now.
And a group of young mentors in Fort Worth want justice too.
Right now, Stop 6 has a stigma, and that park is part of the stigma.
Tina James with Safe in the Six wants more funding for education and mentorship programs like hers. More help to fight poverty and the problems that can come with it.
It is personal because, this is a neighborhood that I grew up in.
I would say it wouldn't happen as much if we fund those programs who are there to help the community.
We are a part of the fight. We're in the fight. We are the fight. We need to stop what's going on.
Fort Worth police are still searching for a suspect dressed in all black, last seen running through the apartment complex. At this point, they don't have a better description or potential motive. But a group of young men and their mentors, it's more motivation to find solutions and change. In Fort Worth, I'm Kevin Reese.
Investigators in Royce City have a new tool at their disposal, and it's part of a national effort to crack down on child exploitation. Tiffany Liu shows us what they had to do to get this kind of assistance and how it's already making a difference.
As a Royce City detective,
there's only so much that our human eyes can find, and as we're searching through everything.
Andrew Mason knows his limitations. It's why he has a new partner.
All right, come here.
With a sharp nose and 4 fuzzy paws.
Let's go. Let's go to work.
Tessa is an electronic storage detection dog.
They've been around for probably close to a decade now, maybe a little bit longer. I didn't actually learn about it until about 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
Trained at the Secret Service National Computer Forensics Institute.
Oh. Good girls.
The 2-year-old lab can find hidden electronics.
She's hitting on this micro SD card to a cell phone, computer tower, and basically anything in between. Show me.
Her services are given to Royce City at no cost, but the benefits go beyond city limits.
We're able to deploy in-state, out-of-state, wherever we need to.
Tessa can help with cases that involve potential electronic evidence, which is most these days.
She will primarily be utilized for internet crimes against children, child exploitation, human trafficking type of cases.
Detective Mason applied through the Secret Service Dallas field office and was chosen to be Tessa's handler.
We've done one search warrant together. It was actually partnering with another agency. We were able to go out. She located a phone that we were looking for.
Seek. It's only been about 3 weeks.
Show me. Yes, good girls.
And he already sees her impact.
It's crucial for our fight to save kids and seek justice for predators.
In Royce City,
Seek.
I'm Tiffany Liu.
Yes, good.
Fans are paying a lot to attend the World Cup in Arlington, and that's without factoring in parking and transportation. Brittany Costello shows us some of the affordable options to get there without breaking the bank.
Rows and rows of barricades are up at Centerport Station in Fort Worth.
One of our volunteers said it's a little bit like Six Flags going through all of the lines.
It will be used to guide thousands of World Cup ticket holders invited to use public transit for the 9 local FIFA World Cup matches. The GoPass app shows tickets are just $9 for an adult day pass.
We've got fans, we've got misters that will have water all along the route to cool people down depending on how the heat's doing that day.
Trains will arrive every 30 minutes on game day from Victory Station in Dallas and Central Station in Fort Worth.
All the volunteers are given buttons of all the languages that they speak.
DART is projecting 30,000 more people will use its system per day.
So we are prepared to put out extra service.
Trinity Metro is planning to increase its service too.
For our locals
we do expect an increase in traffic and congestion, right?
Game day passengers will get tickets checked, then loaded on buses or shuttles.
There will be 80 buses on a given match day moving World Cup ticket holders from Centerport Station to the stadium in Arlington, bypassing highway traffic.
That trip takes about 20 minutes depending on signals, but all of our buses will have technology on them that they've been provided by the cities to give them green priority lights on all of the traffic signals they'll encounter.
Some seats on the train will be saved for daily commuters, but they warn it could get busy.
They need to know to start early.
In Fort Worth, I'm Brittany Costello.
The people who run Dickies Arena claim its namesake is dodging mandatory payments on naming rights. Trail Drive runs the arena and says ever since Dickies moved its operations to California, they haven't paid what's due. In fact, Trail Drive claims the money was moved into a shell company to avoid payments. Trail Drive is suing for $1 million in damages, and a hearing is set for next year. Trail Drive is also working to find a new partner to rename the arena. You may have a child in your family who plays one sport year-round. As Jonah Javad reports, too much of a good thing can cause problems, and doctors say there's a cost to all those extra reps.
Grayson Slagle loves baseball.
In this area, there's so many sports, and baseball is the one that's stuck.
1, 2, 3, 4. But what happens when you love a sport so much?
This is the part that he injured right here.
It hurts.
I mean, I just really loved the sport and I didn't want to put the ball down. Hey.
Grayson plays baseball year-round.
We've switched from a seasonal sport mindset to a year-round mindset.
When Grayson was 13, he felt pain in his throwing arm. Rest, ice, and physical therapy did not fix it.
See that really well in ultrasound.
So he went to see Dr. Jacob Jones, a sports medicine physician at Scottish Rite for Children.
This is his ligament. We call the UCL, which is known as the Tommy John ligament.
Grayson had a UCL avulsion.
That's where the ligament on an inner part of his elbow actually pulled off a small piece of bone.
Had the tear been more severe, Grayson likely would have needed Tommy John surgery. According to recent health studies, young teens and preteens who specialize in one sport have a greater risk of injury, specifically overuse injuries.
Which is an injury due to doing the same motion or repetitive motion over and over and over again. We do provide some general recommendations that, if you love one sport while you're still young, try not to play that sport all year round. Take about 3 months off.
But Grayson only wants to play baseball. So what is he to do?
Each week, we recommend you take 1 day off that sport while you're in the season as well.
Focus on your breathing, come on.
The right approach can reduce the risk of injury and keep kids like Grayson playing the game they love. In Frisco, I'm Jonah Javad.
And it's tough when some of these elite travel teams pressure the families to stay in it year-round. And those are your headlines from North Texas.
I'm Quita Culpepper in Austin. Federal officials were in Texas Monday to talk about the response to the New World screwworm. While most of the focus is on the cattle industry, pet owners and wildlife experts should also be on alert. Reporter Daniel Gomez has more on what to look out for.
The New World screwworm is creeping its way further into Texas.
So that means that, there is potential for any mammal or bird can potentially contract the New World screwworm.
Jules Marin is with the Austin Wildlife Rescue. She says the best way to combat the spread is keeping a sharp eye on all the animals around us.
So it's really important that if the public sees wildlife and it is a live animal, and it has an open wound and they see maggots present, they should actually call their county biologist.
While there are no reported cases of screwworm here in the Austin area, wildlife experts say it could be a matter of time. As the USDA reports more cases of screwworm across Texas, one was found in a dog in Andrews County, near the New Mexico border.
If you have a dog or a cat with an open wound in its body, don't leave it outside unattended where the flies can come land on it and potentially result in screwworm maggots living in it.
Dr. Lori Teller is with the Texas Veterinary Medical Association, and she says it's also tricky right now to tell why your pet might be scratching itself.
This unfortunately is allergy season for a lot of our pets too. So if your animal is scratching excessively, you may want to have that addressed to avoid your pet getting a wound in the first place.
Dr. Teller encourages pet owners to keep a close eye on their dogs and cats this summer because Marin says it's easy for these pests to jump to wild animals, helping them travel a lot further and faster. And now it's all about monitoring and testing for screwworms.
And all of that, because helping the domestics helps the wildlife, helping the wildlife helps the domestics. It's all related. You know, they're not compartmentalized.
The state hoping to stop the spread any way possible. Daniel Gomez, KVUE News.
The battle between ranchers and screwworms has been going on for generations. The most common way to fight back today has its roots in the atomic age of the 1950s. Bob Buckaloo has more in our backstory.
American ranchers have feared a silent and gruesome enemy for a long time, the New World screwworm, a parasitic fly whose larvae consume the tissue of warm-blooded animals. Its reappearance in Texas is a stark reminder that the battle is never truly over. In the early 20th century, screwworm infestations devastated livestock herds, particularly in Texas. This rare film from the U.S. Department of Agriculture in 1920 was used to urge ranchers to inspect their cattle for screwworms and to treat their wounds. The turning point came in the 1950s with a radical idea that seemed almost implausible: defeat the insect by preventing it from reproducing. Scientists developed the sterile insect technique, breeding millions of male flies, sterilizing them with radiation, and releasing them into the wild. When these males mated with females, the cycle of life abruptly ended. The results were nothing short of historic. By 1959, screwworms were wiped out in Florida. By the mid-1960s, the United States declared victory. But in 1972, the parasite reemerged in Texas, forcing authorities into an urgent and costly response. The outbreak was contained, but it shattered any illusion that eradication was permanent. For many in the ranching community, the latest news about the arrival of the screwworm to U.S. soil feels less like a surprise and more like the return of an old nightmare. Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
Leaders of the Balcones Canyonlands National Wildlife Refuge announced a new expansion, adding nearly 300 acres in Burnett County. That brings the total protected land to more than 28,000 acres. Officials say the land acts as a natural buffer against floods, protecting surrounding communities from rising water. Endangered golden-cheeked warbler. These birds are found nowhere else on Earth except for in Central Texas. They've been on the endangered species list since 1990 due to natural disasters and development shrinking their habitat. While the new tracks don't have public trails yet, visitors can explore 10 miles of paths elsewhere in the refuge to spot these tiny songbirds and other wildlife. The Texas Advocacy Project is helping victims of abuse carry their burdens a little easier. The nonprofit's 2026 Handbags and Backpacks for Hope campaign is now underway, collecting new purses, totes, and backpacks through the end of the month. Reporter Jessica Cha spoke with the Advocacy Project about what they say this campaign accomplishes.
A handbag or a backpack usually carries what you need for the day.
We're all carrying it. It's so normal. It's a part of our every single day. But when you're escaping an abusive relationship, you don't have time to grab everything.
But Heather Bellino with the Texas Advocacy Project says grabbing your purse might be the last thing on your mind in a crisis, which she says many Texans experience when they're victims of some kind of abuse.
That means in every room you walk in, there's somebody facing harm and you don't even know it.
So nearly a decade ago, Bellino says TAP created the Handbags for Hope campaign to help survivors.
These are just the backpacks, a handbag. This is what we're hoping that we can get donated from the community.
Here's how it works. Once TAP collects the donated bags, staff will slip a discrete QR code into each one, and then that'll help connect people to free social and legal services. And then once the bags are ready, they'll be distributed to the shelters that they partner with. TAP says they're trying to get to about 5,000 donated bags to give to survivors in need.
Bellino says this month's campaign is all about helping survivors shoulder some of the burden while also getting help.
being able to provide these handbags and these backpacks and these diaper bags and allowing people to have just some sort of normalcy within their lives as they're escaping abusive relationships is so incredibly important.
So for many, a handbag may carry things to help you get through the day, but for others, it may also carry a lifeline to hope. In Austin, Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
A Cedar Park-based company is going to be part of a mission to put people back on the moon. Firefly Aerospace recently announced it was awarded a $75 million NASA subcontract. The company will help send 4 drones to the moon's south pole in the next few years. It's part of a NASA mission called Moonfall. The goal is to establish a NASA base on the moon. Firefly's Electra spacecraft will carry the drones, enter lunar orbit, and release the drones about 50 kilometers above the moon's south pole. The drones will scope out hard-to-reach areas and map safe landing spots for future missions. The search for a new face to lead the Verde and Black is over. On Monday, Austin FC announced Jim Curtin will take over as the club's next head coach once the 2026 season wraps up. Curtin managed the Philadelphia Union from 2014 to 2024. He was named MLS Coach of the Year twice during his time there. Austin FC parted ways with Nico Estevez last month after a slow start to the season. And that's all from us right here in Austin. Hope you have a great day.
Hello everybody, happy Tuesday. Quick update on our Texas statewide forecast. Increasingly, as you can tell, looking at these numbers, our forecast is more about the heat for this week and less about the rain chances. Looking at the numbers for Dallas, for example, as we go to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, mid if not upper 90s. For Houston, low 90s. When you factor in that southeast Texas humidity, it will feel more like upper 90s or even triple digits. Austin, low 90s early in the week, turning to mid and upper 90s for the back half of the week. Then as you look at Corpus and Brownsville, temperatures are going to be in the low 90s. Now, what about rain chances? Again, these are going to be kind of few and far between as we go through the rest of this week. For a Tuesday, we're looking at a few isolated storms up here in the Texas Panhandle, but a lot of our big metro areas, DFW, Austin, into Houston, Corpus, it's going to be primarily dry through the day on Tuesday. Heading into Wednesday, a few little streamer showers and downpours, parts of south central Texas into southeast Texas, but that's going to be pretty hit or miss. And then once again, we'll look for a slightly better storm chance over parts of West Texas and the Texas Panhandle, but that's going to be kind of the pattern. I don't really have any major area-wide rain chances in the forecast, probably not until the beginning of next week. And that, by the way, may have to do with the tropics. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Here's the Tuesday storm outlook. Amarillo area, far northern Panhandle, clipped by severe risk, and then kind of the same thing through Wednesday, but the eastern two-thirds of our state looking pretty quiet. Here's the rainfall potential just over the rest of the work week. And this shows you where, again, over parts of the Panhandle, we'll have some storms around, and then some just kind of general isolated to widely scattered showers and downpours will be possible for southeast Texas, south central Texas, down to south Texas as well. These totals probably a little bit aggressive, to be honest with you. It's just going to be more hit or miss depending on where these heavier downpours develop. So with that, I want to kind of shift our focus away from what's happening in Texas right now. Let's focus on the tropics, the Atlantic Basin, Gulf, Caribbean, main development region of the Atlantic, all quiet right now. But I do have my eyes on the Eastern Pacific. We have 2 storms right now. We have Tropical Storm Christina as well as Tropical Storm Boris. Christina is expected to eventually make a landfall here in Central America. And from there, late week into the weekend, it may kind of cross over Central America and could, as some of the spaghetti models are showing, make it into the Gulf. And if that were the case, and right now this is just kind of an if, we'll have to see how this goes over the next couple of days. But if that were the case, obviously, we need to watch it closely here in Texas, where the center of it could make a run towards northern Mexico or even South Texas. And remember, even if the core of the system stays down here, the tropical moisture associated with it could pull well far north from that, especially if we have a front coming into the area, and some of the model data is showing that. So Just to show you the 6 to 10 day extended precipitation outlook, southeast Texas into parts of central Texas, we've got above average precipitation, at least the higher likelihood of it, and even into the remainder of the state, above average precipitation is favored for June 14th into the 18th. So here's a look at the 3-day forecast. In the meantime, again, for now, we're kind of focused on the heat, especially in West Texas, El Paso. Look at that, 104 Wednesday, Thursday, 102. North Texas, DFW area, I've got you at 96 Tuesday, Wednesday 95, Thursday 96. Denton, we're looking at very similar numbers. Heading down to Central Texas, Austin, low to mid 90s through the middle and end of the week. Houston area, this is typical this time of the year. The air temperature is a little bit cooler in the low 90s, but of course the humidity will more than make up for that. Heading down to San Antonio, 91 Wednesday, 92 on Thursday, and then for the Valley, not quite triple digits just yet, but getting close. We'll be in the mid to upper 90s by Wednesday and Thursday. Y'all have a good rest of your day. We'll keep you updated right here on Plus.
I'm Leslie Adamy in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening here in South Texas. For more than 2 decades, freshwater releases from the city's reservoir system have helped sustain the Nueces Delta. It's a critical nursery for fish, shrimp, crabs, and other wildlife. According to the Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries program, the Delta has received an average of about 24,000 acre-feet of fresh water annually over the past 24 years. But because of drought, no releases have been made in more than 2 years. And as Corpus Christi considers asking state regulators to change when mandatory releases begin, questions are being raised about what that could mean for the health of the Delta. Michael Gibson takes us there.
I'm taking a tour of the Nueces Delta with one of the scientists who works out here and knows if there's been any effects from the lack of water releases from our lake system into this area, which is apparently a very vital spot for wildlife and marine life.
That tour quickly took an unexpected detour. Adrian Hilme, project manager for the Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries program, spotted a threatened Texas tortoise crossing our path. As you can see, the tortoise wasn't interested in being part of our story, and we certainly weren't interested in interrupting his journey. The species is actually part of an ongoing research project aimed at mapping habitat use and determining how many Texas tortoises call the Nueces Delta home. But while the tortoise grabbed our attention, the focus of our visit was actually water.
This is where fresh water does come through when it's released, but it's also tidally influenced. So this is connected to the bay. So we also have bay water that pushes up into this area. So there's always water of some kind here.
Hilme is referring to Rincon Bayou, one of the primary channels that carries fresh water into the Delta. Historically, the Delta has received an average of about 24,000 acre-feet of fresh water releases each year. But because reservoir levels have remained low during our drought, no releases have been required for more than 2 years. We asked what impact that lack of fresh water may be having.
We've seen salinities as recently as a month ago up in the over 55 parts per thousand.
In simple terms, higher salinity levels can make it harder for young marine life to survive. At the same time, Corpus Christi is considering whether to seek an emergency order from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality that would change when those mandatory freshwater releases begin, moving the trigger point from 30% reservoir capacity to 50%.
But it could be that more have to be done if we open it up. So we have to be cautious on how we proceed with it.
I would say that any changes to the agreed order should be, it's most important that this be based in science and in the data that's available. And the agreed order does lay out a process for recommending changes and amendments to that order.
For now, scientists say it's way too early to know whether the lack of freshwater releases has caused any lasting damage to the ecosystem here. Hilme says long-term impacts on fish, wildlife, and habitat may not become clear for another 4 to 5 years. Reporting from the Nueces Delta, Michael Gibson, 3 News.
And that is a quick look at some of what's happening here in South Texas.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. A possible drowning at Lake Tyler is putting water safety back in the spotlight as More East Texans head to the lake this summer. CBS 19's Nayeli Crio reports.
We've had a number of fatalities on the lake, and we need to change that trend. And the only way that we can change that trend is if everybody does their part.
As summer activity picks up on East Texas lakes, Lake Tyler Marina owner Brent Allen says safety has to come first.
Everybody has to do what they're supposed to do to make sure that the whole lake stays safe. And that's the ultimate goal. Nobody wants to come to the lake and have tragedy happen.
Sunday afternoon, a woman was pulled from the lake. Authorities say game wardens were already patrolling the water when the call came in.
Sometimes it's drownings, boat accidents, different mishaps that many times could have been avoided. For that reason, we're going to be out there in force this summer.
Allen and game warden Todd Long urge East Texans to wear life jackets, drink responsibly, and look out for one another.
I've seen a lot of things on the lake where kids fall in the water and there's 4 or 5 people that jump in right after them. It's a great feeling to know that people have your back. And the flip side is you have to have other people's back.
And for some lake goers, the safety message is personal.
I recommend to wear a life jacket at all times. Yes, I wear a life jacket when I get in. I don't like going out without one. It's very dangerous. But I know how to swim, but I still want a life jacket.
With July 4th and warm summer days ahead, game wardens say the goal is simple.
Enjoy the holidays. Enjoy the weekends.
In Tyler, Nayeli Carrillo, CBS 19.
We want everybody to make it home from the lake this summer.
An East Texas family is leaning on faith after a shocking diagnosis changed their lives. Just weeks after graduating high school, 17-year-old Jaden Gardner underwent brain surgery after doctors discovered a mass on his brain. Here's CBS 19's Jesus Martinez.
The love of a mother is invaluable.
He feels loved. He feels the support.
When Lacey Gardner noticed her son Jaden wasn't acting like himself, a mother's instincts told her something wasn't right.
It was kind of gradual, but we just mistaken it for he's just a 17-year-old boy.
And the concern only grew as she watched her son struggle.
He's throwing up, his cognition is not right, he's not really saying anything.
After being treated with fluids and discharged from the hospital, his family continued caring for him at home. And then a couple of days later,
he woke up and wasn't saying anything. And I looked and was like, Jaden, if you don't talk to Mama, we're going to the hospital. I know he didn't want to do that.
Jaden had a seizure and was taken to the hospital, and they did a stat CT scan.
And maybe an hour later, the doctor came in and announced that he had had a mass on his brain. No warning signs.
A healthy student athlete who had just graduated high school, working at Chick-fil-A part-time.
I felt like I was in a dream, more like a nightmare. It was just unreal.
Jaden had surgery on Friday and is recovering.
He was able to say Mom instead of when we got to the hospital, he didn't even know who I was.
He was well enough to get some fresh air at the patio a couple of times since his surgery.
To be outside for the first time feels good, huh, baby?
And he has had a lot of visitors wishing him well.
You don't realize the love and support you have until something like this happens. And
we love you, Jaden. 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 Love you, Jaden.
We love you, Jaden. We love you. Love you, Jaden.
And because the love of a mother is so powerful.
When I got back, she was like, he missed you. He said, I want my mama.
She hopes no mother goes through the same thing she is.
Don't give up the faith. Faith is what brought us through.
And Jaden's family has felt every prayer.
Take that time and not worry about everything else. Know that God's got it.
And Tyler, I'm Jesus Martinez.
And that's a wrap of your East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.
I'm Adrian Carball. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. A new online tool from the Texas Education Agency is giving parents and school leaders a closer look at educator misconduct investigations across the state. The agency says the Educator Misconduct Dashboard is designed to increase transparency and show Texans how reports are handled from complaint to discipline. The Texas Education Agency says parents have been asking for more transparency when it comes to educator misconduct cases.
A lot of the comments that we've gotten from parents, stakeholders, even administrators is a concern about a lack of transparency. What are the allegations? How many are there? And what is the TA doing about it?
The new Educator Misconduct Dashboard aims to answer those questions. The online tool has different tabs that breaks down misconduct reports, active investigations, disciplinary actions, and the state's Do Not Hire registry, a list of people permanently barred from working in Texas schools. Levi Fuller with the TEA says parents should remember the reports represent only a small fraction of the hundreds of thousands of people working in Texas schools. He also says an increase in reports doesn't necessarily mean misconduct is increasing.
It means that superintendents are taking this very seriously in reporting. As you can see, we have about 10,000 plus reports that are coming from the superintendents. That's the way the system is supposed to work. And so that's a good thing.
The dashboard currently provides statewide data, but Fuller says it's exploring future tools that could offer more localized information while ensuring the numbers are presented accurately and in context. For now, officials hope the dashboard helps parents better understand both the scope of misconduct and the state's response to it.
What I would say is a reasonable measure of success will be when parents aren't talking about it every day, when they're not worried about where their kids are going to go to school. And in regards to the dashboard, what I would say is the way that's going to help us get there is it's going to show people this is what the scope of the problem is. It's going to educate legislators on this is what the TA looks like.
TEA officials are encouraging parents and educators to explore the tool and provide feedback on additional features they would like to see in the future. And as we celebrate America's 250th birthday, Central Texans are getting a new chance to explore the stories that shaped our state. This summer, a traveling exhibit called Texas America 250 is making a stop inside the Salado Museum in College Park. The city says it applied for a free grant program to bring this miniature museum to Salado, and it comes from the Texas State Library and Archives Commission. The exhibit walks you through our state's Declaration of Independence, connection to the moon landing, and so much more. The museum's executive director says it's an easy way to dive into Texas history.
But it gives you enough to want to learn more, I think, and to understand why we are so proud of Texas and proud to be Texans.
The traveling exhibit will be inside the Salado Museum until the end of July. From hunting hidden treasure as a pirate to designing your own video game, Waco STEAM Center is offering new summer camps where kids can learn science and math without even realizing it. Our Brandon Coate has more on the types of camps being offered.
We like to seek in a lot of learning in creative ways.
Learning through trial
We need something
and error.
Oh, we forgot something right here.
Young scientists at Mission to Mars camp are learning through play.
They are designing habitats for living on Mars, so they have to create something that moves so we can get around Mars, a place to live, a place to create our food.
I met one of the campers, Hayden.
Wait, what's that? So this is going to be our docking arm. It's going to be for docking different, more parts to our space station.
He's going to be a 5th grader next year.
This is going to be the greenhouse.
With dreams of becoming a space engineer or rocket scientist.
So basically, we're going to be attaching different parts to our base to expand.
The Mission to Mars camp is already happening, but the STEAM Center says there are plenty of other ones with spots open like full court STEAM, where you shoot hoops while learning the science of basketball, or Cookie Jar Mystery, where campers use forensic science to solve who stole the cookie.
So we really wanted to make sure we had camps for everything.
All different in their own ways, they all share the common goal of teaching kids about science, technology, engineering, art, and math.
We give them a challenge, we throw in a little bit of learning and help they use that learning to then solve a problem in a creative way.
And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
And here's your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. Heartbreaking development in the crash on College Street in Beaumont early Saturday morning. Police telling us that the 7-year-old boy involved in this crash has died. BPD responded to the crash in the early hours Saturday on College Street and I-10. Police say that a woman named Leosha Livings was driving a Buick that was stopped at a green light when witnesses say that she suddenly accelerated and crossed the median, crashing head-on into a Ford Expedition. Witnesses say that they also noticed that the boy in the front passenger seat was not properly restrained. Livings is in critical but stable condition. That crash remains under investigation. And meanwhile, in Orangefield, a deadly motorcycle crash has claimed the life of a man. Orange police telling us that this happened Saturday night at Highway 105 and Oilio Road. Police say that a motorcycle was traveling westbound when a GMC SUV entered the intersection and hit that motorcycle. The Orange County Justice of the Peace Rodney Price pronounced the driver deceased at the scene. He has now ordered an autopsy. That driver of the SUV did cooperate with police. The man who died's name is not going to be released until next of kin has been notified. And a bond has been set for a Beaumont man that police say shot a woman that he was dating. This all happened early Saturday morning in the 8200 block of Hartfield Lane. Brandon Creighton, he is behind bars at the Jefferson County Jail with a $1 million bond. Now, he was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, a first-degree felony. His bond, its conditions, they include wearing an ankle monitor and having no contact with the victim if he's released. Now, BPD says that officers arrived to find a woman suffering from a traumatic brain injury after investigators learned that she and Creighton were in a relationship. She was transported to the hospital and is in critical condition. Well, sentencing, that's set to begin Monday for a Beaumont man convicted in a 2023 deadly shooting. Last week, a Jefferson County jury found 21-year-old Jaron Battles guilty of murder in the death of 30-year-old Geraldo Escamilla. Prosecutors say that Escamilla, he was shot and killed outside of the D-Money Daiquiris Lounge on Phelan Boulevard in Beaumont. A second man was also shot but survived. Now, the verdict, it came after a week-long trial that included eyewitness testimony and ballistic evidence. 2 other men also indicted in this case. Jamirius Spraggins, he's already pleaded guilty to 2 counts of attempted aggravated assault. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison. That third defendant, Armani Wallace, still awaiting trial. Well, June is Pride Month, and PFLAG Beaumont of Southeast Texas, they held their 12th annual Pride Festival Saturday at the Southeast Texas Stages Theater on Laurel Street in Beaumont. And despite the rain, organizers, they made sure that everyone felt seen and celebrated, including the local LGBT community. Attendees, they enjoyed live bands, performances inside the theater, and remarks from District 22 State Representative Christian Manuel. Organizers, they also met the 4th Tuesday of every month at Legacy Center. And members of the Delta Omicron chapter of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, they invited the community to give the gift of life Saturday. This was during their annual Dr. Charles R. Drew blood drive in Beaumont. That event, it honors Dr. Drew, widely recognized as the father of the blood bank, for his groundbreaking contributions to blood transfusions and storage. Organizers say every donation, it can make a difference for patients across Southeast Texas. And finally, Golden Pass LNG celebrating the 2026 recipients of its Process Technology Scholarship Monday at Lamar Port Arthur. 12 students, they were selected for this year's class, and the program is designed to help students train for careers in local industry, all close to home. Golden Pass LNG, they shipped their first cargo of liquefied natural gas in April, and they say that its Sabine export facility has created hundreds of permanent jobs. And those were the headlines here from Southeast Texas.
I'm Henry Ramos, and this is the news in San Antonio. A witness to a deadly crash says she's still praying for everyone involved. Police say a 74-year-old motorcyclist was critically injured when a San Antonio EMS unit collided with him. Our Sue Calbert has the story.
For the 300-plus people who live here at the Salado at Redberry, this is the only way in and out onto busy Gambler Road. Heavy traffic here and on the road, combined with a busy fire station right across the street, led to a tragic crash last Thursday evening.
Very traumatic, very sad. Unfortunately, I was crying. It was something that I've never experienced before.
Maria Lopez says she was waiting to turn into her complex, and what she saw, she will never forget.
I saw the guy flying from the motorcycle when the ambulance hit him.
The police report confirms what Lopez saw. They say the ambulance driver failed to yield the right-of-way and turned into the path of the 74-year-old motorcycle rider with a crash that left the man in critical condition.
It's very, very sad, and I pray every day, may God protect us from any accidents on the road. Very, very traumatic for me to experience that moment.
The District 2 Council office says they've never had a request for traffic safety enhancements here, but some are saying maybe now's the time here where lives are always on the line. In East San Antonio, Sue Kelberg, KENS 5.
A new case of the New World screwworm has been found in Gillespie County. It comes as the U.S. Agriculture Secretary has joined the governor and other state agencies in the fight to stop the spread. Jeremy Baker reports.
Governor Abbott is declaring war on the screwworm using the phrase inspect, report, and protect following the disaster declaration that was announced last Friday aimed at slowing the parasite spread and protecting the state's $15 billion cattle industry.
In the 1950s and 1960s, USDA scientists developed the incredible sterile insect technology that is still our best tool to combat this pest, where you are literally at ground zero for that research here in Kerrville at this facility.
2 cases of the parasite had already been confirmed in the country last week. Now USDA announces additional cases.
Yesterday, USDA confirmed 2 additional cases, one in Texas, in a calf in LaSalle County, and another in Lea County, New Mexico, in a dog that we are hearing has been moved up from Mexico.
Governor Abbott stressing to ranchers that even though they are the ones that are the most vulnerable to this parasite, they are also the ones that are on the front lines and must inspect and report anything they see.
We're here to serve you, to help you, to aid you to respond to issues that you're experiencing on your ranches, issues that you want to avoid occurring on your ranch.
The USDA, Animal Health Commission, and Texas Parks and Wildlife teams are already on the ground in infested zones, conducting active animal surveillance as well as connecting with landowners.
For sterile fly release locations, conducting ground and aerial release of sterile flies, and educating animal owners and the public on the pest and how to prevent the spread.
Coming up at 6, we'll hear more from the governor about the plan to battle the New World screwworm here in Texas. Reporting from Kerrville, Jeremy Baker, KENS 5.
Well, San Antonio small business owners woke up to their car being stolen from their driveway. The owners are also worried because of what was inside. Here's KENS 5 reporter Simone Simpson.
A thief caught on camera stealing a car.
It was locked.
But the car wasn't empty.
Yeah, it had everything. Our canopy, tables, chairs, shelving systems, ACs, because we have our babies with us.
The family of 10 is crushed. Aliana Salazar and her husband, Jonathan Gaitan, are co-owners of the Cozy Wick.
As hard and as difficult as it is, but we're going to get through it.
Police say it was just after 2 in the morning on Sunday when they were called to the 9300 block of Village Lance for a stolen car. The couple says their car was packed with equipment because they were preparing to go to a vendor market later that day. Some of their inventory is housed here at Basila Frocks at 502 North Zarzamora. They call it a blessing.
It's a setback on the vendors show part, but with our store to come here and just enjoy all of the years. It's safe here. It's like a good, reliable spot.
The thief got away before police arrived. According to SAPD, no suspect information is available at this time. Although their car is missing, the couple says they found a village of support.
The community is just amazing. God works in mysterious ways, that's for sure.
Reporting for KENS 5, I'm Simone Simpson.
A year of hard work reaching new heights. Alamo Heights High School students showcasing a rocket they designed and built. The 21-foot rocket was created by a team of 14 students who handled much of the design, construction, and testing. The project challenges students to build high-powered rockets capable of reaching extreme altitudes. It has also given them hands-on experience in engineering, problem-solving, and working together as a team.
The rocket is cool, but it's those kids that are the real story in this process. They're amazing. The experience that they've built, everything that they've done up to this point is really spectacular.
And later this week, the team will go to White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico for the launch. If all goes as planned, the rocket is expected to soar to about 50,000 feet. That is pretty cool. And that is the news in San Antonio.
Let's take a look at today's headlines across Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. Police in Sugar Land are looking for a man accused of attacking a nanny with a baseball bat. The nanny says she doesn't know the man and fears he could strike again. Megan Reyna spoke with the victim and her husband.
It was a traumatizing event for a woman who has asked to remain anonymous. Her hope is that Sugar Land police here are able to track down the man she says brutally attacked her while she was working as a nanny and on a walk in an area she thought was safe.
I mean, I could have been killed.
From the hospital bed, a survivor of a violent attack recalling the moment she says a stranger approached her and a baby she was caring for while they were on a walk off Creek Bend Drive and Floor Daniel Drive. It was Friday around 10:45 in the morning. She says the man was driving an older model SUV and parked right near them.
As soon as he's walking out, I seen the bat, and he just like looks both ways and starts running towards me with the bat. So my instinct was just to run with the baby.
She says he caught up to her and started hitting her with the bat. First in the back of the head, she says she held up her arms as he continued to strike her, eventually breaking one of her arms and shattering her phone. Fortunately, she says he never went after the baby.
I just started hollering, help, help. And I guess that's when he got like scared. He just stopped and ran.
She says in those moments no one was around, but right as he sped off, someone came running to help her and called 911. Her husband, Danelle Caban, rushed to the hospital.
What went through your mind when you first saw her?
So she was completely covered in blood, completely her arms, her face, her clothes.
His wife went through a 3-hour surgery on her arm, but thankfully had no bleeding in the brain despite being struck multiple times in the head. While they're focused on healing, they're hoping Sugar Land police can find the suspect.
He's a crazy man that is still out there.
Thankfully, God was watching over me and the baby.
The only description of the suspect police gave is that it's a man in his 30s or 40s. Now, if you have any information, you're urged to contact Fort Bend Crime Stoppers. That number is 281-342-TIPS. Reporting from Sugar Land, Megan Reyna, KVUE 11 News.
What started as a family crawfish boil in Northeast Houston ended in gunfire. Police say one person was killed and another critically injured. Michelle Choi spoke with neighbors who woke up to a scene they never expected to see.
A family crawfish boil ending in tragedy overnight in Northeast Houston. Police say officers were called to a home on Brettshire Drive around 1:30 Sunday morning after reports of a shooting. Investigators say family and friends were gathered outside when an altercation broke out between a suspect and two men. They say the suspect pulled out a gun and opened fire.
One victim was shot in the chest. The other victim was shot in the neck and the chest.
Police say one man was driven to the hospital in critical condition. The other died at the scene. Just down the street, neighbor Freddie Williams says his girlfriend was one of the first to hear the gunshots.
She woke me up, she said, "You hear those gunshots?" So I walk out to the driveway. I look down and I see all the emergency vehicles.
By sunrise, the crime scene tape was gone, but the canopy tent, tables and chairs from the gathering were still sitting outside the home. Williams says he initially thought it was another shooting somewhere in the neighborhood. Then he learned someone had been killed.
I walked up and seen all the police present. I'm like, what's going on? And then when I looked back, like she told me when she came, she said, "It's a body." I said, "A body?" Well, you know, that's gonna throw you off right there. That time of the morning.
Police say everyone involved was attending the same gathering, and the suspected shooter is now in custody. Investigators say they're still working to determine what sparked the argument. One victim was 22 years old. The other had not yet been identified. For Williams, the violence is difficult to process.
It made me sad to know that this happens daily, and not just in the neighborhood, just in America in general.
He shared he knows the family who lives at the home where the shooting happened and planned to check on them.
I'm going to go down and see what I can do emotionally for him, because I know it's a hell of a shock to him. You know, it's got to be hell to have somebody killed right in front of your house, and you're like you say, a crawfish boil, but we having fun. Thank God no children out there.
Anyone with information is asked to contact Houston Police. In Northeast Houston, Michelle Choi, KVUE 11 News.
The World Cup now just days away, and the FIFA Fan Festival here in Houston will give some freestyle soccer players a chance to shine on the world stage. Troy Kless caught up with the team to talk about this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
In soccer, all you need is a ball, but you don't have to play anywhere special. The tech crew brings their game anywhere.
Let's go! The global game brings comfort to Shaymat Kadori. She moved from Morocco just 9 months ago.
When I first came, I didn't know anyone. It was hard, but when I first met the boys and the girl too, like Houston started feeling like home to me. I found my community, I found my people.
A circle of players taking soccer beyond the pitch.
For me, I was only playing like soccer games when I was like young, but when I first saw like someone freestyling, that got me into freestyles.
We do a lot of moves with our feet, with our head, with even our back.
Joseph Diaz explains what freestyle means to him.
The simple fact that you can express your own art. I mean, honestly, everyone has a different style when it comes to juggling the ball, doing keepy-ups.
The tech crew was formed in January, bringing the spice of soccer center stage.
The last 2 years, we met amazing individuals like Chewy, Street Chewy. We also met Zoe and Yami and Shema. Shema's from Morocco.
Shema and the tech crew will be performing at the FIFA Fan Festival and will do activations outside of Houston Stadium throughout the tournament. This group started off doing tournaments with a goal in sight.
These people have been wonderful in giving us opportunities to perform and be in places where we only dreamed about a couple of months ago.
For those familiar and new to the beautiful game, the tech crew hopes people will be inspired, finding fun,
nice,
and meaning in representing who you are.
It's important because like showing to the other girls that we can do whatever like we want to do, and we can do good at it as well.
And you can catch these guys at the Fan Festival throughout the tournament. In Houston, Troy Kless, KVUE 11 News.
Not bad, Troy. That is a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Len Cannon.